Do you all know the legend of Ligma and Johnson? Ligma and Johnson were two individuals who went to Twitter HQ and walked out carrying boxes and then started telling reporters that they had been fired. And their names were like Rahul Ligma and like Daniel Johnson or something. Get it? Ligma Johnson. And so the media got hoaxed. Elon Musk invited them back in to the, actually, I think I have the tweet right here. Is it right here? Yeah. Elon Musk invited them back to Twitter HQ saying, welcoming back Ligma and Johnson. Wow. And then this is a clip from The Hills Rising. Please listen.
I mean, what do you think this is about? Is it because he has created such a poor working environment and has ruined the relationship between him and his employees so much that he's not able to do the job? Because I saw him, he was tweeting out pictures of him standing with two employees who he had fired prematurely and then rehired with his arms around them, kind of like, hey, I know I shouldn't admit to my mistakes. It seems like he's in a desperate situation where he's realized he actually needs somebody, and the single genius myth is just that, a myth, and he actually needs these employees to work for him. And the employees didn't look so happy in that photograph, I gotta say. I mean,
I don't know what, this is Robbie. Robbie, how? Daniel, one of the hoaxsters, says, how are we still tricking journalists? How is this still happening?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not sure. Harry Balzania was also there. And I think that she's also just saying, like, fired early. Who's writing it and doesn't know that?
This is amazing. Yeah.
I love how condescending she is. She's like, he thinks he's a genius. Look how stupid he is.
Yeah.
And The Hill's like,
well,
not
I fall
the worst.
for all of it.
The Hill Rising used to be Crystal and Sagar.
Right.
And now it's Brianna Joy Gray and Robbie Suave. I feel like these individuals probably don't read. Like,
no, and that's the problem with a lot of the media and a lot of these journalists now is they're not really journalists. They're like commentators on, what's hot and commentating on this photo that Elon Musk posted. It's like very pop culture-y. It's not actual news.
She said she saw the photo. Okay, right?
Yes.
She said that?
Yeah.
The photo says Ligma and Johnson on it.
Yes.
So she read that.
And then said it
went over her head, poor the poor woman.
Ligma Johnson. Yeah. Come on.
She's stroking
this is a family-friendly show here. What do you mean, Tim? What are you trying to say here?
I'm trying to say that 12-year-olds are the ones who are pushing this joke.
Yeah, literally. That's unreal.
Maybe that's how it went over her head, but like...
She bought it, hook, line, and stinker.
Yeah.
This is the modern state of... Yes.
Sorry.
That's embarrassing.
This is the modern state of media, I guess.
This is sad.
It's sad.
Yeah.
And she did a whole piece on it.
Oh, man.
She was so proud of herself, too. She was so emboldened.
Have they apologized?
She woke up and read that, and she's like, what an idiot.
This Ligma Johnson guy.
They didn't look happy in the photo.
Yeah, I think who's this? Is this Ligma?
That's Ligma.
That's Ligma. Does it say Ligma on it, actually?
He looks like a Ligma.
Yeah,
the other
he is.
guy looks like a Johnson.
Yeah, Daniel. He's got name tags, Rahul and Daniel, and that's Rahul, Ligma, and Daniel Johnson. He doesn't look
Johnson
happy.
Doesn't sound right.
No, right, yeah, it doesn't.
Rahul Ligma seems...
Rahul Ligma and Johnson. The media got hoaxed the first time. Elon, this is the craziest thing. It's like the people who like what Elon Musk is doing understand the memes, the jokes, the laughing. I don't get it, right? We talk about Nancy Pelosi. We talk about Hunter Biden, the laptop. We know all of these things. How? How do we know these things? And okay, you know what? I'm going to stress this point. The left and the right is not political at all. It is knowledge and ignorance. If you are stupid and not paying attention, you'll find yourself on the left. Mm-hmm. If you are interested and inquisitive, you'll find yourself on the right. And I'm not saying that if you're inquisitive, all of a sudden you're like, I'm pro-life. No, you might end up being someone who's like, actually, I am pro-choice, but yeah, Biden's crooked. You're right wing now.
I'm still laughing because this is not the first time the corporate media made such mistakes. And again, we have to remember, according to YouTube, these are the authoritative sources. We got to believe them no matter what. We got to elevate them over everyone else. Do you remember the Something Wong airplane crash that happened?
That was great.
And they literally...
We too low, yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah,
and bang
so
ding ooh. Literally, on Asian Flight 214 that literally went down, we had KTVU, a local news broadcast, go on national television and say that the four pilots or all of those names in unison right there. So again, this should be a big reality check to a lot of people, especially to the fact checkers that again, the corporate media gets it wrong. They get it wrong a lot. A lot of people make mistakes, but they're never really held accountable for it. But at least we can laugh at them. So at least we still got that.
I was watching the FTX commercial with Larry David. Have you guys seen it?
No.
You know, with all the news on FTX going on, I started like digging into it, and I watched the commercial with Larry David, and it's basically it goes back to ancient times, and there's a guy with a wheel, and Larry David standing there is like, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's a wheel." He's like, "What does it do?" And he's like, "It rolls." And he goes, "So does a bagel. It's stupid." And then it shows him like with like a woman, and she's like pouring it. And she's like, "It's coffee," and he drinks it. Goes, "Oh, it's terrible." And like the gag was he was against all good things, and then one of the scenes is he's with the founding fathers. And then they have the Declaration of Independence. And he goes, "What do you mean everyone gets to vote?" And they're like, "Yes, everyone." He goes, "Even the stupid people?" And they're like, "Yes." And he goes, "No." And he tries to rip up the Declaration of Independence. But that was the one moment where I was like, well, I don't agree with tearing up the Declaration of Independence, certainly. But he brings up a good point about stupid people voting. It is a problem, and it needs to be addressed somehow.
Yeah.
No, it absolutely is true.
It's true.
It's gotten us here.
Yeah.
Maybe it just has to go back to the landowning men. I'm sorry to say.
I was gonna say, I think it's when we started letting women vote that things started going south.
Well, women can own land. The ladies, you heard them.
That's right. Yeah, we have a sponsor that allows...
I get on 1 foot. in
and
Scotland.
you're a lady of Scotland.
Yeah.
And then you get to vote because you own land.
What kind of property rights do I have to it, though?
Honestly-
Are people allowed to trespass on my 1 foot of land there?
Probably not. I don't know. You put
I'm
a
gonna
fence
buy
around
them.
it.
Yeah, you could. You could put a tree as long as it doesn't grow that big.
It's a square. That actually would be really cool to put a fence around it and like
I
keep
would.
out
Oh, yeah.
sign.
Yeah, just that's your.
We talked about this
Oh my
before. Like, do
God.
you get the air rights too? Like how high
Yeah.
up? And do you get the mineral rights? Like you bring on a truck and just go straight down like 3 miles through your 1 square
You
foot.
just have a Gatling gun that shoots into the sky 24/7.
Yeah. Okay. And about stupid people voting.
It is a problem.
Yeah. What do you do? You know,
That's why I don't vote.
That's a good right. Sure.
I get ahead of it.
Yeah. We could put Biden and Fetterman in.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to meet Fetterman voters, though. I really do. I want to meet the people
They
who
look
actually
just
genuinely.
like him.
I'm just imagining like going to the town he was mayor of, and it's just literally everyone looks like
Yeah,
him.
it's the same. It's all
They're
the
all
same.
6'5", bald with a bulge on their neck. The women look like him. The men look like him.
Yeah, the same radiation water has turned them all into the same guy.
Have you played Fallout 3?
Yes.
So you know the super mutants. They're all basically identical.
Yeah, true.
All right. Well, people who know the game
Yes.
are like, that's a fair
Yeah,
point.
he's right.
Interesting. Even the women.
Yeah.
So basically, in the game, like the male and female super mutants are just big Frankenstein-looking monsters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yes, that's the
It's
joke.
Fetterman.
So what should we do? Starship Troopers? Service guarantee citizenship?
IQ test.
No.
IQ tests? I don't know. Look,
Those
No,
can
no,
be
no, no.
wrong.
and it's not so much about
Dave's
that.
like, mine was low. I want to
it's like-
redo.
I don't think 48's low.
You can be, look. I know people.
I can open Tupperware.
I know people with high IQs. You give them a puzzle, they'll solve it. You ask them, did Joe Biden engage in a quid pro quo? They say no. So like IQ isn't really.
No, I'm not being serious about that. But I think it all comes down to the media, though. It comes down to them talking about
you think
Ligma
skin
and Johnson.
color? Is that what you're driving at?
It comes down to them talking about Ligma and Johnson, and that most people aren't that stupid, but it's what they're being fed. So
I think they are that stupid, though. Like, that lady is that stupid. Like, she has to talk
Clearly.
about it and just was... Like, I looked at that for 2 seconds and was like, yeah, it's Ligma and Johnson. And then she went and did a piece on it.
It never occurred to her. It's crazy.
No, she's like, okay, so Ligma Johnson. And the guy's like, go on. Like, the other guy might have known and was just enjoying
That's Robbie
himself.
Suave. We've had him on the show before, and I'm just like, I don't understand. Why didn't Robbie immediately go like, are you talking
That
about
was
Ligma?
Robbie?
Yeah.
he's usually good, too.
He might have
Well-
done it on purpose.
He's he's of the libertarian sect that somehow often is like pro-government, I guess.
That's such a weird kind
Yeah.
of
Isn't that...
bipolar way of life.
Yeah, that's an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's you know, he often has takes that are like in line with the establishment, and people are like, "What are you talking about?" Like, you know. But I think it's like whatever the libertarian group was before the Mises Caucus took over. The Mises guys are more pragmatic. Before that, I think they called them like the pragmatists or something, and they're typically just like, I don't know, libertarian, even if it supports an establishment narrative or something.
Can we make Ligma Johnson a lord?
Yeah.
Lord Ligma Johnson.
Can I buy it to make it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Wow.
Can we have Lady Ligma Johnson?
There you go. Yeah.
Lady Ligma. Lady Ligma and Lord Johnson.
Yeah, we could have Lord Ligma Johnson and Lady Lingus.
Well, I can only say right now, I'm pretty sure they're very happy they sponsored the show because like they're probably getting dozens of orders for Ligma and Johnson.
Dude, they just own a giant part of Scotland now. Well, that's the Ligman Johnson Forest.
So there's so right now there's 48,000 people watching, and I'm just imagining 48,000 square feet of Lord Ligma and Lord Johnson owned land in Scotland.
No, I'm not discouraging this at all.
I want to see the land first. I want to make sure it's real first. But otherwise, there's a lot of other candidates that we could go with. There's Willie Stroker. There's Harry, last name Cox. So we can keep going here. But my favorite thing, one of my favorite things was a skit, was a skit by Australian comedians that booked the ticket, and they booked it for a guy named Terry, last name Wrist, and a second passenger was called Al, and then the last name was Kata. And they literally missed their flight. So over the speakers in the entire airport, like, excuse me, we're looking for Terry Wrist and Mr. Al Qaeda to please go to gate 14. You're about to miss your flight. Mr. Terry Wrist and Al Qaeda, please come to gate 14. You're about to miss your flight. It was a hilarious skit.
One way to LaGuardia.
Hilarious skit idea by comedians there. I forgot exactly who the group was. But they were like absolute geniuses. They also faked the motorcade. So I'm going to try to remember.
It would be cool actually, like even if it wasn't the lordship thing, that we just got like 100,000 people to pitch in $10 to buy a forest and create the Ligma Johnson Forest Preserve.
I'm in. We should do it.
We should start the Ligma Johnson Foundation
first $10
and have Ligma Johnson everywhere.
Can we
Seriously?
Can we save an animal and then have like an anteater and it'll be the Ligma Johnson?
It'll be the sponsor.
In the forest.
It'll be to sponsor a poor journalist.
Okay. We should set up a crowd fund
in.
Just use the money to buy property, buildings, donate to a hospital, the Ligma Johnson wing. We're talking about stupid people voting, and we're sitting here like, oh, we're going to name stuff Ligma Johnson.
It would be great, though, if this went too far.
Why not? I agree. I absolutely agree. We got to have the small victories,
Exactly.
Everything's doomed. Everything's horrible, and but at least we get to have Ligma Johnson.
I will.
Good point.
What if there's someone who actually is named Ligma Johnson? And he's like listening to this, and he's just like,
guys, this has been a hard road for me.
Why don't we just start a new political party, right?
Maybe we need to make like some products, an energy drink.
Yeah, Ligma Johnson's.
Yeah, Ligma Johnson's
boner
underwear.
Just make it. Don't even be creative about it. Just gas station boner.
Man.
Dr. Ligma Johnson's Vitality formula.
That's better. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Testosterone.
Yeah, and then we'll put a fake thing on it where it's like in 1803, Dr. Ligma Johnson created this formula drink to revitalize men.
Yep. They would grow your hair back and it'll give you a nice package. It's an extends.
This is very important news we're covering today, I guess.
I hope everybody knows that this is all going to be real
This
very
is exactly
soon.
what they covered, though, Tim.
They did.
This is the news they cover.
And speaking of covers, condoms.
Johnson.
Ligma Johnson condoms.
Yep.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Flavors?
There you go.
We got
What's the least appropriate product we could make that's like shouldn't be named Ligma Johnson?
Ice cream.
pacifiers?
Ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, no. I was going to say lollipops, but man, you take it to another level. Jesus.
That is a good one, though.
Can we start a company called Ligma and Johnson, and then just basically whatever we name the product, it'll say under it, Ligma Johnson product.
A little R at the end.
Yeah. You know, and like it'll be like a cursive L and a cursive J.
Yeah.
Parody on Johnson and
You're
Johnson. or
gonna
something.
get sued by Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah, which is it's a vaccine. You're like, what's it for? I don't know.
I really like the idea of like creating a forest preserve.
I
and
really
then
do.
people go on Google and they zoom in. Like it's going to be 200 years later. And there's going to be some dude driving around with his wife. And they're like, let's go to a park. And they pull up their map app in their virtual space or whatever it is. And they're like, oh, Ligma Johnson lookout. And then they're going to pull up and they're going to be like, what a great view. And they're going to look up on whatever the future Wikipedia is, like the history of Ligma Johnson, like named because a bunch of people on a podcast rallied a bunch of people to take an internet meme about licking someone's genitals and turning it into a property. And they did.
But in the year like 3050, it'll be like the most quaint story imaginable because everybody's just garbage.
Yeah, true that.
I think a more practical idea, I was going to say something inappropriate, but would actually be maybe just a journalism award. You get the Ligma Johnson Journalism Award for actually getting things right and not being as ridiculous and dumb as the corporate media.
$10,000 prize.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, turn it. I
Yeah,
like
twist it.
Yeah.
So instead of standing for some ignorant corporate media trash, you actually
So-
support real journalism.
And she has to present it to you until the day she dies.
Now, what's the statue going to be? That's the real question.
So
A
it'll
tongue
be
like a Rolling Stone logo.
the Ligma
go.
Johnson Award for Outstanding Performance in the Field of Excellence.
Yes, I like that.
yeah, there you go.
And
And perfection.
it comes with a $10,000 cash prize. And the reason for that is who would say no? Like you get up on if you get up on stage and accept the award and give a speech, we will write you a check. Congratulations.
I like it. And then that.
Okay, maybe
check-
$1,000. I don't actually give them money.
Yeah, so like $1,000. Then a percentage of that has to go to fund a forest called Ligma
Ligma
Johnson.
That's an interesting conundrum.
That's why we all
how many
win.
bad journalists would be like, well, I do want the money.
Well, you'd probably have Brian Stelter every year walking up.
No, I mean, he got fired, so.
Oh, that's true. He's at Harvard
Yeah,
now
he's,
for some reason.
he's not a journalist
He's at
anymore.
Harvard.
Yeah, they took him to Harvard. I guess he teaches class on how not to be gay in public.
Well, he teaches people how to be bad at his job, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing that you can be fired and then get a job at Harvard.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's probably because,
Well, good for him.
whatever the world is now.
Good for
Seems
him,
like
I guess.
He's like a real kind of a crock guy.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.